welcome to Computing TV. I'm Angelica Mari. We're here today for the first of our series of video programs on IT leadership. Here you see the UK's top IT decision makers and experts brought together to discuss the future of UK technology leadership. Today I'm joined by Coby, Chief Information Officer at British Airways, and Chairman at CITA, a leading IT services provider for the aviation industry. Alongside Paul, we have Mark Kobayashi-Hillary, board member at the British Computer Society Elite Committee, which stands for Effective Leadership in Information Technology. Mark is a prolific blogger, one of computing's main contributors, and is an established author of several management, globalization, and outsourcing books. Thank you very much for joining us today, gents. It's been an interesting few months for you, Paul, with the situation in the airline industry. Some figures released at the CITA Air Transport IT Summit in Cannes earlier this month suggested that the operational spend for IT and telecoms will be 1.7% of airline revenue, which is the lowest since 2002. And at BA, things has been quite challenging as well, with a 30% decrease in IT budget. So how do you lead an IT department in a sector that is possibly the worst hit by the recession?
Well, I mean, you're right. This is the worst recession we've ever experienced in the air transport industry, and it's much worse than 9/11. But we know what we need to do. We've replanned our entire business, and sort of IT's been part of that, and the 30% reduction in investment in IT is an element of that. So, the rules are the same. It's absolutely important for the CIO and the IT department to be on the business's agenda. And the business's agenda at the moment is twofold. The first thing we have to do is save cash to survive. This is literally a fight for survival. So we've reduced our investment by 30%. The second thing we have to do is develop a new business model for the airline, a sustainable business model going forward. So, okay, we have reduced our investment, but we're still investing in things. What is the airline's agenda? Well, firstly, it's reduced cost. So there are some IT investments that make the airline more productive, save cost in terms of how we allocate resources. So we're continuing to do that. Secondly, we're focusing on the customer. So it's absolutely important that the customers who are travelling, and overall travel's down 15% across the entire industry, that the customers that are out there want to travel with British Airways, and we retain the ones we have and grow our market share as we're doing. So we're continuing to invest in things like BA.com. So we launched dynamic packaging, which is a great Web 2.0 tool to put together whole packages of holidays, flights, car hire, hotels, etc., which was launched in May, is now going great guns. And the third thing is we have to keep the business going, so business continuity is really important. So cash, customers, and continuity is the agenda.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting you mentioned about some of the new projects that you've been launching, because I think that when times are good, there's always discretionary budget available for new projects. But when you're trying to cut back and then the times are harder, then your focus is on business continuity and just keeping the lights on in the business. So how do you steer your management team in that kind of environment when there's much less discretionary budget available?
Well, we have to stick very close to the budget. So I've created 4 new posts, which are technology and services partners, because I also look after other services apart from technology in British Airways. But these 4 of my direct reports, their job is to get round the director colleagues' table, their leadership teams, and understand where they're going. So they understand the agendas at a departmental level, so they can set the right priorities going forward. Because you're right, it's very, very tough. We have to save every penny. Every penny going out of that door is our future, it's our pay, it's our pensions, it's the future of the airline, so we have to stop that. So getting those priorities right is absolutely key, and the only way you can get the priorities right is to stick absolutely close to the business.
So in the past decade, you've seen a lot of change. You've been at BA since '97.
Yes.
So you've seen changes in regulations, political changes, economic changes. So And clearly now you can't work with the budget that you would like to have. So how can you have a clear and consistent strategy when the business is always changing?
I have got the budget I would like to have, because if I had a bigger budget, it would be not good for BA. So it wasn't easy, but that's the whole point. We want to reduce our spend because that's how you survive. But you're right. You need to keep a constant vision going forward. So there is a basic, which is provide IT services globally 24/7 and do them to a very, very high standard, and that's what we've done, and we've made reductions of about 45% in cash since we've gone forward. But it's also important to recognise that sort of technology underlies everything we do in the airline, so being efficient with that is key, but it also enables us to innovate. And, in fact, technology generally enables companies to innovate. So how you innovate is really key. And I think there's one of the things we've tried to do is see where technology is going. So, for instance, after 9/11, we put a lot of our business online. We were the first people to develop calendar-led selling, which is to show you what the cheapest fare is on any day to any destination. Now, everybody thinks that, you can see that everywhere on everybody's website, but we were the first to do that. Mm-hmm. We were pretty much the first to put large-scale, online check-in, which again, everybody does now. So, we did that in 2005, 2006. And now through the new Terminal 5 building, which is working very well, now we've got 80%, 4 out of every 5 passengers either use a self-service kiosk or online check-in. So that's completely changed things. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned earlier, dynamic packaging. So actually how you move into the, exciting Web 2.0 revolution that's going on and actually sell things, sell new products in a different way is really exciting. Mm-hmm. So for instance, we've got a site up, a social networking site called Metro Twin, which twins London and New York, because that's our key route. So, if you want to put, find a great restaurant in Soho in New York, and you want to find a great restaurant here in Soho in London, you can go and look there because you've got the reviews of the people who travel there. Mm-hmm. So, you've got to do the basics right. But you've also got to recognise that technology is a fantastic lever for innovation and competitiveness. Right. Competitiveness.
Okay, so Mark is a strong proponent of the whole social networking agenda, having over 1,500 followers on Twitter himself.
Congratulations, so I think I've got 10, so there you go. I shall follow Mark now.
So how do you think that social networking tools can be used to drive business forward, to increase revenues and that kind of thing, since it's a relatively cheap way to do it?
Well, as I say, we've developed this by Metro Twin, which is a way to involve our customers, and actually people are very passionate. It's one of the characteristics about airlines, why they like us when we do well and why they are so upset when we do badly, is people care passionately about that. So giving people a way to lock into that is important. I think another very interesting way is internally in companies. So for instance, we have some networking sites, for our colleagues, our staff, for cabin crew, for flight crew. So
is there something that is bespoke, or do you use?
Well, we downloaded it off the net. It's a bit of shareware, and we painted it blue and put a British Airways logo on it. It's a really tough development.
Okay.
But what we did is then you can go on and Willie Walsh, our chief executive, will go on and comment, and people know he's there and interact with him. I think the interesting thing with social networking is that it feels like a bit like an amphitheatre. So I've noticed on my blog, which I do for my department, that a few people interact and we have dialogues. But then if I look at the number of hits, I can see that there's actually a lot of people looking at what's going on there. Mm. So I think and also because we're a global company, when when Willie speaks to colleagues in the theatre, we just stream that around all our sites, around the UK, around the world, so people can do that. So there's not there's not that much magic about the technology here, because, you know, actually, as I said, a lot of it you can download really easily. But it actually, you know, it gives people what they want now. They want two-way communications. They don't just want one-way communications. And they want access. They want information. They want it to be available. And that's what your customers, and it's what your colleagues in the business want.
Do you ban Facebook?
Sorry?
Do you ban Facebook at the...
yeah, we don't allow access to that.
Okay. Why is that?
For that. Well, because we thought it would be a sort of distraction in-house.
Since you have your own tools anyway.
Indeed, though we have used it, we have experimented in terms of sort of opening up for small groups. And I think we're going to actually launch a directory with Facebook capabilities on. Because, you know, Facebook is, I think it's a really interesting question that you've asked, which is because the intersection of people's working lives and their social lives are getting so mixed up. You know, what do you allow and what don't you allow? At the moment, we think we need to give tools for social networking inside. So, you know, we have, you know, discussion forum. You know, we stream the video. We have Ask the Willie and the leadership team sessions. You know, we're going to be setting up a directory with the characteristics of Facebook. But we think that these things need to be focused on, you know, your working life and your time at BA. Fair enough, if you want to do these things outside, you will, and that's fine.
Okay, I mean, commenting on, you commented before to computing on the economic downturn, and you said specifically that it's your job to know when to start spending again. So if, you know, in that context, and in the present environment, how do you spot the time when the market is ready for you to start spending on IT and building up your project infrastructure again?
Well, it's not yet, because we can't see any green shoots sort of coming forward. I think what we have to do is and actually it's probably really easy for us, because air travel tends to be a lead indicator of economic activity, and cargo carriings do as well. So you know, we'll be able to see sort of globally when you know, when things are picking up. I mean, it's certainly not now, but you know, there are things that we will need to invest in, as you said, you know, when things change.
So, no pun intended, but there's been a lot of turbulence at BA in the past few months.
Yes, there's never a dull moment in an airline. Yes.
Yeah, so with all the speculation over salaries and people working for free and all that, is there a danger that you may lose expertise from the business when things start picking up again?
Well, I'm really proud of what people in my department have done. I think over 600 people volunteered either for unpaid work or unpaid leave, or some form of you know, some people have taken a whole year off. So, you know, there is a risk that people may leave, but actually I think everybody felt they wanted to contribute to the future of the airline, and we saved, I think, £2.2 million immediately off this year's budget, which, you know, is a significant contribution to the savings.
Was that savings generated from IT?
Yeah, from my department. Yeah, just for people doing these schemes. So as I said, I'm really proud of what they've done, and I think that tells you the opposite. I think that tells you that people are really proud to work for British Airways and really keen to contribute.
How do you keep them motivated?
I try to talk to people and explain where we are. We try to be very honest about the situation. So, you know, Willie has been very clear that this is a fight for survival. You know, we've been very direct in terms of where we find ourselves and what the issues are. We try to set clear priorities. And I think most important of all, we try to recognise, you know, when people have contributed. You know, so, you know, there isn't much scope for, you know, sort of paying money in terms of, you know, sort of recognising, you know, big achievements. But, you know, I think just recognising what people have done, when there's been a great delivery, or, you know, when, you know, things have gone wrong, people reacted fantastically. So, for instance, at London City Airport, because of the Olympics, there was a Victorian duct where somebody put a digger through it. And guess what? both cables that went to London City Airport went through there. So my team have a sort of crash response a sort of set of bags with, you know, wireless kit. So they rushed out there, and you know, I think within 24 hours, you know, got you know, connectivity up, check-in working, you know, using a sort of a wireless kit, which I think was several days before the, you know, the rest of the airport could get full connectivity back. So just recognising that, and we got a great story in BA News. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think, you know, recognising what everyone does, it's like after 9/11, you know, it's a horrible time to be in. It's very challenging, but it's also, you know, I think you know that everything you do, every penny you save, you know, contributes to the future of the airline. Mm-hmm. And that's motivational, I think.
Do you still enjoy your job?
Yeah, I do most of the time. I've always said that, you know, that sort of airlines and IT are fantastic because they're, you know, the intersection of the two most interesting industries in the world. But, you know, they are moments of sheer terror. So, you know, when you get that call at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning from your head of IT operations, you know there's going to be some issue and that you've got to deal with it. And my job as a CIO is to explain to the sort of director colleagues and the board, you know, what's going on and what the issues are, and give space to the real experts to get problems solved. So I do enjoy it most of the time.
All right. Okay. Well, there's been a really interesting chat. Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks, Mark, for your help this morning. So, please take some time to check on the second part of this video, where we will discuss the issues related to IT leadership skills in the UK. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you.